Here we go. So I'm going to talk to you today about the IBM CMO Study. And as Ken rightly highlighted, this study has been run at the beginning of last year when IBM employees from the marketing department and communications teams have gone around the world and have talked to 1,700 CMOs. So we took the time to do face-to-face interviews, 1 hour structured interview around 64 different countries, and we've been talking to 19 different industries. We've been asking 35 questions, and we gathered above 10,000 quotes. And all these quotes we've been analyzing and applying some sentiment analysis technology that we have through our metrics solutions in order to really understand what are the key topics and what are the things that keep the CMO awake at night. So let's put some context to it, and let's think about some of you in the room might not be coming from the GTA. And as you decided to plan your trip and come to the CMA Summit, which is a 2-day conference, you had to wonder how to come here. You had to think about where to eat tonight, which hotel to go to. And I'm sure the way you looked into this, you've been using online technologies, you've been going on the web, you might have looked at some consumer reports on the places you would have been interested into. Now, think about it, 15 years ago, what would you have done? It would have been a very different exercise to decide on how to organize a simple business trip. And this all tells us that the way we gather information, the way we analyze it, the way we make a decision, and the way we act upon this decision and go and book a ticket or book a hotel room, all of this has changed in an enormous way. And this all is creating data, big data. But the data is not only big. So let's look at this volume to start with. Think about it, up to 2003, all the data that got generated in the world up to 2003 now gets generated within 2 days. Put in other words, 90% of the world data is actually being created in the last 2 years. Now, the velocity of the data is also changing. We all have devices that are connected all the time. We have unlimited bandwidth. We can't respond quick enough to any question we get. And the more question we get, the more that we answer, the more cycle we generate. So when we were at the time where people were offline and we had to make more decisions with partial information, we always look for more today, and we ask for more data, and we accelerate the way we look into it and the decision we make about it. Now, the variety of this data is also changing a lot. So we're used to dealing with what we call structured data. It's all aligned in rows and in columns. This is no more the case. We deal with music, we deal with video, we deal with censored data, we deal with medical records, we deal with speech, and we also deal with self-generated data, with a lot of content that is written and might not be accurate either. So all these different data cannot be analyzed the way they were in the context of structured data. It now takes tool, it now takes technology and analysis to that, because you want to give a sense to all of this data. Now, let's look at the veracity of the data. When somebody goes and is looking at our solutions and starts posting, "Oh, thanks for your great service," what did that mean? Is there sarcasm into it? How would I know if I don't get it in context? So here again, bringing a meaning to all this data around is quite a challenge for the CMOs in today's world. So what did we learn when we went around and when we talked to all these CMOs around the world? What is it that they told us? Well, the first thing is that they feel underprepared. And there are 4 criteria that really made the top of the list. The first one, you won't be surprised by that one, is the explosion of data. So all this volume is a challenge for them, and at the same time is one of those they feel least prepared about. The next one is the emergence of social media, which is another thing that they really need to tackle, and they don't feel really well equipped to tackle in the future. And the third one is the multiplicity of devices and channels that CMOs now need to deal with. Because it's good to have a certain appearance in a channel, but you want to maintain this brand experience across all the different channels that clients are using and moving from one to one. And the fourth thing, which is more of a global statement, is related to the changing demographics. So we've got some countries that are extremely young with growing demographies, others that are getting older and older, and how the pattern and behavior, depending on age, changing depending on that. How to take care of this is an important thing for CMOs. Oh, and I forgot an important thing. Actually, not only is this a challenge and they feel underprepared, but their CEO feel the same. So IBM also runs studies with the CEOs, and we're going to have our next one coming in May. And the same thing occurs when the CEO tells us, we see these changes, we see it's there, we see it's real, but we're not ready either. And CMOs have a tenure of 2 years. So there's not much time to act upon this, think about what needs to be done, doing it and showing a result in a way that CMOs will keep their job. 77% of the CMOs are likely, therefore, to invest in technology because it will take technology to address all of these challenges. But technology alone is not sufficient. You know, we say a fool with a tool is still a fool. And that's what it's all about. Do the people who deal with this technology understand what the technology can do? Do they have the right skills, the right financial skills, the right level of acumen when it comes to IT to be able to use them the right way and not being misled by some programations that are within the solutions? 71% of the CMOs are going to tackle social media first. And this is something that they really think is critical. But when we get into social media, this is where the corporate character really matters. Because it's not possible anymore for companies to get what the corporate character is all about. This corporate character is now, needs a certain elasticity because it's being influenced by what clients say, by what employees say, and this perception of the brand is no more what CMOs are going to publish out there, but it's the true experience of the brand in the marketplace that matters. And if it cannot be gated, then it means that the brand needs a certain equity and it's some attributes that the CMO with his peers from HR, for instance, with the CEO will have to work on to make sure that these are reflected in every way the company goes and behaves. So success, measuring success is so critical as well for the CMOs, because dealing with all these changes means shifting investment, means making things different, changing the marketing plans, changing the influence also that the CMOs will have on the entire business. And that's not easy to do. So to do that, if the budgets are not growing, it means taking away from one place and moving it to a new place. How to do that? So they said to us that the first element that they care about when measuring success is the return on investment. And therefore, they will want this return on investment to be measured also on what they do in the new technologies. And this is followed by the customer experience. And this is where it matters so much that CMOs have a level of influence on all of the 4 Ps. And when we ask CMOs what is their level of influence, 80% told us their influence is mainly on promotion, 56% told us they have an influence on the product, but only 44% do have actually an influence on the price and the place. How can you deal with customer experience if you cannot influence the price and the place? And I will even go beyond that and say what the client experience every day. when they have a problem that needs to be solved, when they need to address a help desk. So now we're talking about changing the way we segment. But so far, when we ask CMOs what they're making decisions upon, it's all based on traditional things. They work on generic segmentation. What they don't look at so much is consumer reviews. They don't look at individuals in the way they try to understand their clients and they try to influence their marketing strategies. So if we're going to move from a segment that used to be done around demographics to a segmentation around behavior, and then ultimately get to the segment of one, it means that the clients do go and segment themselves and declare their segment to us. And we capture this, and we know what they want, and we know when they want it and how they want to get it delivered. And that's where suddenly good marketing becomes good service. And good service becomes good marketing, because this is what's going to enhance the brand quality, the experience of the client wanting to tell how well your brand might be for them. So these are very few highlights of the study. The study is a full book. It can be downloaded online, so here is the book. You'll need a bit more than 7 minutes to go through this, read all the questions and what our clients have told us. I encourage you to do so. And as you go to this website, you'll even have the chance, if you like to compare what your results will be with what clients have told us around their own industry, around their own market. So I really encourage you to go and download the study to find out more and see how you are in comparison to other companies.